If you're new with us, this is the 7th Profile of Resilience, where we've been trying to do these monthly as kind of a sponsored webinar event, thanks to the Southeastern Washington Economic Development Association. That is a long acronym. And then the SBDC, that's an easy one. That just flows really nicely. And Aziz has helped promote, and I saw the chamber help promote the event, and I know the city's kind of popped it out there a few times too. And so, as always, we're so grateful for the support and people that are willing to just kind of spread the word about events and cool things that are happening. I've been talking to Michael a lot this week, and oh my goodness, they're doing some awesome stuff that I am just really excited to dig into a little bit today. If you guys haven't met Michael Topp, he's the Associate Director of the Regional Theater of the Palouse, also known as the RTOP. And he is absolutely delightful, which you guys will be able to see today. That being said, Michael, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for hosting the webinar and all the community partners that made this possible. Really appreciate being here.
Yeah. So first off, like, how are you guys doing? How's the year been? Thankfully we're in 2021 now. How are you guys holding up? How are things?
Yes, this year has been challenging. Theater and the theater industry was one of the hardest hit due to COVID-19. We were the first to close, and we're still working to be open. You know, we got workshops going on, acting workshops, and pivoting in a lot of exciting ways, which I'm looking forward to sharing here. Every day is a push. Like, we're pushing to keep the lights on, entertainment vibrant, and our downtown just an attraction piece here in Pullman.
Gotcha. So, and remind me, with phase 3, are you guys technically allowed to open and do like 25 or 50%? Or like has phase 3 been like good or neutral?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's been very helpful in the sense that we're able to have 50% capacity. And so for our performing arts school, our workshops, we're looking forward to having those be live performances for family, friends, supporting these young growing artists. Not quite at the stage for main stage productions. Those that I know that our community members love and adore. We're so grateful for all the patrons and individuals that have become season pass holders. Even without us announcing a season, they've been able to buy season passes, support the theater, and our commitment to be here after the pandemic is over. We're not quite there yet, but our performing arts school is creating content that we're recording. We are sending it out to families, and we're looking forward in phase 3 to, in our upcoming workshop, have a live audience. Again, it'll be a great time.
So walk me through that, because I don't know because I'm in an office. We just kind of wipe things down and have everybody wear masks. There hasn't been a whole lot of changes in structure of how we operate, aside from close your door more often. So walk me through, like, if you have a new customer coming in or someone who's wanting to show up at the workshops, like, is it a pretty smooth experience joining the workshops, or what's that like?
It is smooth. We are wearing face masks, and we check people's temperatures upon arrival. The stage is, we have blocks, squared off sections painted, and we incorporate the staging to maintain social distancing as the state fluctuates its ramifications and things. So it's really easy to follow along. And we take extra thought when assigning props, the items that people use on stage, that they're not shared. They're individualized, sanitized before and after. So there's a lot of thought that went into keeping community members safe, keeping the arts alive, keeping arts training available here on the Palouse.
Well, okay, so and that being said, like, has there been a good amount of government assistance that's been provided not only for like theater arts, but then also for you guys as a nonprofit. Like I always hear in the news like, oh yeah, they're allocating extra funds, but like we don't see that. So what have you guys been what have you been seeing from that side?
I think the biggest has definitely been from the government support. They've just been able to give extra funding to the National Endowment for the Arts and other foundations and organizations that have very competitive grants and that we seek and we apply and we reach out to that we do. And this year, since there have been more funds available, more grants have been funded in the arts industry. RTOP, we've been privileged enough to secure some funding, and it's every amount helps, and we're so grateful. It's making our mission possible, and I think that's all I can really say about
so then has that been like mostly like federal
funding.
stuff, or has that been state level? And then if you're doing state level, is there certain groups that you're partnering to work with in that?
Both of
Okay.
federal with the National Endowment of the Arts. That's what enabled us to do our summer camps in 2020.
Oh, okay.
We were able to receive a grant that helped us cover tuition costs and help cover the supplies that we needed to pivot to get. And so that allowed us to do summer camps. And then Washington State, the Washington State Foundation for the Arts, they provided supplementary grants as well that continued to push forward for our seasonal workshops and getting the equipment necessary and the software to do online voice lessons, online piano lessons, and kind of getting us into a more digital environment.
Okay, not to get too far into the weeds on that, are you guys using SoundJack or are you using a different software set?
We're not.
Well,
We're not using
but to
SoundJack.
do those voice lessons, like I've heard of like 5 that have just come out in the last like 3 or 5 months. Like that's been an area where people have really been pushing the envelope.
Yeah, we use as software to manage our performing arts school. We use My Music Staff, which is really helpful to keep things organized, and we're able to just familiarize ourselves with uploading rehearsal tracks and getting people their sheet music and delegating that out. And I'm thinking what else. For the sound quality, we found that it's best to purchase the tracks and get them to the audience, to the participants, so that they, have that backing track from their computer system instead of someone playing it and then there's a delay. And so troubleshooting that, and we've really refined it to make it a quality experience. And we offer in-person and virtual. So people that feel comfortable to do it in person, we have it set up with a barrier screen and safety measures and precautions. And then we also have online via Zoom and the other things I already mentioned with My Music Staff.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Zoom has actually changed a lot of the functions for doing the original sound to try and decrease the latency. Like, no, that's awesome. Have you had to buy like any new microphone equipment or anything additional too? Or did you guys have kind of most everything just need to pop into the computer?
Yeah, we've gotten some new webcams and like I said, the purchases of rehearsal tracks for...
Yeah. And is there any licensing weird things with that? Because I know sometimes that can be an issue.
No, when you purchase the sheet music and you purchase the track, it's included in the licensing.
That's awesome. So then, so it sounds like to me you guys have been pivoting your business model quite a bit to going from like big performances to the smaller workshops to summer camps to a little bit more like almost individualized quality experiences. Is that kind of how you would describe that?
Yeah, I would say yes, for sure, that we have individualized our training with private voice lessons, and we also have online group lessons, language conversation groups, and other aspects like that. Small group acting performance workshops, limited. We're capping it at about 10 participants, and those are enrolling now. We have a new one starting up April 12th through May 21st, and so it's I believe that's 6 weeks. Meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4:15 to 5:30. So participants are able to, they're wearing masks. We incorporate the masks into the design and the setup of the workshop. And like I said, we check their temperature before and after, sanitize props. But it culminates to a mini musical, about 20 minutes long, that we've been recording and sending out as links, and working with videographers and a great new talent. We're discovering new talents in our area and new resources that will continue to serve RTOP long into the future.
Okay. Are there any other things that you guys are kind of have in the works or going to be announcing soon, or what? Because, I mean, that's a lot of changes. Like, are there more changes?
More changes down the line? Yeah, we anticipate announcing our main stage series. We're shooting for fall. It's up in the air as to what the state guidelines will be. Things seem to fluctuate. It's as chasing a moving target at times. We've all felt that. But the most immediate would be our spring workshop, which is April 12th to May 21st, and then our summer camp series. That'll be on the radar, which are week-long whirlwind intensives, workshops where participants meet, in different sessions, 9 to 4 in the afternoon. It's so much fun, and they create so much in such a short amount of time. And so families and artists of all ages are encouraged to get involved, whether one-on-one with our private voice, acting, piano, conversation groups, or small groups with our workshops and anticipated summer camps. Our performing arts school has been our strongest branch because our main stage series, which we're known for, that's our bread and butter before COVID, it's just not viable to do right now with even 50% audiences. We really need full houses, and to stage a main stage production, it doesn't facilitate well with the masks and the amount of cast members required for the shows that our audiences know and love.
Well, and so then with that, if you guys had to make a big shift, have you guys been able to negotiate any fixed expenses or rights expenses? Like, how have you guys you've worked to increase money flow in? How have you guys minimized money flow out?
So when the pandemic hit here a year ago, right, March 16th, we were about 3 weeks into producing Thoroughly Modern Millie. Our venue had been blending national talent. We actually had a guest artist in from New York, and we purchased the rights to produce the show, and we were about 4 weeks away from hosting it and producing it and showcasing it to the region. And so putting a halt to that we took a real emotional blow, a creative blow, just put the company in kind of a fog, which we had to navigate. But safety was our top priority. We were able, through the Rights and Royalty Company, to extend the permission to do Thoroughly Modern Millie. So dates are pending, and if we are able to transfer that to a different show, we're still working on the logistics of transferring credit or maintaining that credit and just deciding when we can produce it. So that was a big blessing. That was a big help, being able to work with the rights in response to your question. And through all of that fog that RTOP was experiencing, we kept safety and priority number one. We maintained our agreements with the other outside talent. They were planning to fly in March 17th, March 18th, and had their flights canceled, tickets reimbursed, and And again, after reimbursing them, contacting the airlines and seeing, hey, how can we secure credit when we bring in actors again? And we were able to secure some airline credits, not all, but every little bit helps. So all the little details, that's how we're pushing in every aspect to maintain functionality as a venue.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. So then, as you guys have been putting safety first and you've been communicating, how are the ways that you communicate with your customers, and then how's that frequency increased? Have you guys been hitting social media more? What's that been looking like for your organization?
The biggest proponent of theater is word of mouth. And so that is a great question, Adam, of how can we keep RTOP in the spotlight when we don't have the events that bring everyone together, that get people talking about the venue. We've had to pivot and, yes, increase our social media outreach, sending out emails via MailChimp. People can subscribe to that. They can go to our website, rtoptheater.org, and become a subscribe to see our monthly newsletters. And we'll send out occasional bursts to keep our subscribers notified of what's going on. Season pass pre-orders, we have been sending out the recorded content, like the little trailer clips. Like for our annual letter at the end of the year, end of 2020, we recorded kind of an annual letter review, but it was all digital content of little excerpts of our workshops, the things we've been doing, how we've pivoted, a trailer of Thoroughly Modern Millie, all compiled and gave it out to our season pass pre-orders as a thank you, our patrons that were a huge saving grace and continue to be so. I think our patrons are the strongest testament to RTOP survival. They give us the drive and the commitment to keep going.
Yeah. So that being said, what are things that leaders in the community can do to help support? Is it just more word of mouth, or telling people to go to social media, or what? How can groups? What do you guys need the most?
Definitely word of mouth, getting involved in whether it's signing up for workshops or taking part in our online trainings and things, or referring people. Proactively advocating the arts is the biggest help to Regional Theater of the Palouse. Making it a point of discussion and letting people know that you are a season pass holder, that you are doing a workshop, and that people can get involved, that RTOP is accepting volunteers that follow state guidelines to maintain our window displays that vibrate, that make downtown Pullman vibrant, and we celebrate the seasons, the holidays with our 3/4 block of window real estate. It takes a bit to decorate and design, but it's so much fun to showcase what our area has to offer and what our area's talent is producing.
Well, and you guys just kind of redid that front face, didn't you?
We did, yes. So I think that would also tie of how is RTOP marketing, installing the Grand Marquee, our marquee on Grand Avenue, Main Street, Grand Avenue. And we're able to insert promotions, our number, which is, if you don't know, 509-334-0750. And that's on our Grand Marquee, outlining that we have studios for rent, that we have voice lessons ongoing. Sometimes we'll even promote our holiday contests. We did a Halloween contest in 2020 where people submitted their Halloween costumes.
Awesome.
And then also for the holidays, people submitted their decorations, and we posted it on social media for people to vote on. Well, like and subscribe, and we just looked at that engagement as the one with the most engagement wins, and we awarded locally sourced gift cards to support our neighboring businesses. Theater and entertainment strengthens a downtown market. It strengthens all business partners. It brings people together. It has them create. It prompts them to support other organizations, and we maintain that as well by getting local gift cards, giving them out to people who participate in our contest, like I was saying. Halloween, the holiday season in December, Valentine's Day. We have an Easter one. It's up online, but with all that's been going on, the promotions, it's a small core team that keeps pushing, and so we rely on a vast network of area advocates, art enthusiasts.
So let's take a step back. You said something about studio spaces. Tell me about that. Like, do you guys just rent out studio spaces for like an hour at a time, so someone has just like a soundproof room, or what is it?
At our core, we want to be a springboard for artists and their training and development. A way that we've pivoted is to also have an entrepreneurial interest for individuals. We opened our top box office and Mercantile, where local brands and companies are able to maybe move their online products from Etsy and display them in downtown market in a downtown market environment. For example, we have some apiculturists. They're beekeepers, and I'm not sure if you can see this, they also have these beeswax candles that are for sale, that is an ongoing fundraiser to the venue and strengthens people's drive to be entrepreneurs here in the downtown. Other items include Palouse brand agricultural products. They're like lentils, garbanzo beans, dry goods. Those are found at our top box office and Mercantile. So that is a stepping stone, right, to our top studios, which is a shared cooperative space of establishing and emerging businesses. And we currently have a few tenants. We've had tenants in and out as they use the individual rooms that help with the needs that they have at hand, whether it's bringing downtown traffic or just establishing their presence as a newly founded business, or fulfilling the state requirements, keeping things clean. For example, we had one person interested in opening a massage studio, or they have one at their house, but it's so hard to maintain it with all the restrictions in their house, and they're having to like section off their house to maintain this kind of side business, and it just wasn't cost effective. But our top studios, we have 100 square foot rooms, affordably priced, collaborative, willing to work with people where they're at, how they're growing, and so that's been a huge benefit.
So you're telling me I can go down to your area and go get a massage, is what I'm hearing.
Right. Telling you to come down, visit, see what's going on. There's a lot going on, even though it's during this strange time of COVID-19.
So just real quick, so how many studio spaces do you have total? How many are available? And what are the amenities with that?
Yeah, we have 4 studio rooms, and 2 are currently available. Okay. That are 100 square feet each. And there's also a shared reception area, a shared conference room, restrooms, ADH accessible, parking, a lot of amenities with, we're getting Wi-Fi actually there too to make it more of a, because one of our tenants, our newly found tenants, thank you Aziz for the referral and the promotions. To get people to know about this. We were able to secure a new tenant that's in need of Wi-Fi, and so we're incorporating that, and hopefully that can be a benefit to other emerging businesses.
Gotcha. Okay, so you have the studios, and then you have the box office. So that's retail space right off of Grand. That people can work with you guys to feature their goods. Like what is that? contract or relationship look like?
It's one-on-one. It's by individual. We have some individuals that are such strong supporters of the venue that they donate their items to be sold as an ongoing fundraiser for the venue. We have others that are commission rate based to promote their products and then also maintain the ability to have it on display. And I'm trying to think of how to describe the others, of just low entry rental space of, not commission, not anything, but just low entry rental that we want to work with people's budgets, want to work with their projected growth. And so RTOP is flexible and looking to help people grow. As artists, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, we want to strengthen our downtown community.
Yeah, and that's incredible. I had no idea that was going down literally like a block from here. I can see it from my office's front door. That's incredible. Are you looking for more people to join in on that for the retail space? I guess
you bet.
How much more are you wanting to get?
You bet. We're working with individuals, and we have other, like our front lobby space. We have a place that's called, we term the Blue Room. That's where during main stage productions, that's where I am running the box office, handing tickets out. And so if anyone who's come to our venue, they'll see me behind the Dutch door handing their tickets, and there's a really nice room in there. It has an Easter display going on right now, so we have a lot of flex space, and we're looking for people who want to grow their business, promote the arts, to be downtown, to strengthen downtown, and so with RTOP Mercantile, the flex space through RTOP Theater, and dedicated space of RTOP Studios, it's multifunctional.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. So then, do you what are like the noise considerations? Like, because in my mind, I'm hearing people doing the lessons and the music and the voice lessons, and then you have co-working space with people who are trying to do things, and I admit I do feel sympathy towards my parents having to listen to me practice the piano. As he's smiling and laughing, he's been there too, I think.
Yeah. If I understand right, you're with your concern of just the noise of any one tenant, because RTOP's Performing Arts School with our voice lessons, piano lessons, they are in RTOP Studios. It's not soundproof, but it's on a minimal basis of how often individuals are there. And as more tenants come, we want to have it a good working mix. And so again, we can utilize our flex space to, we're happy to put our lessons wherever in our 3/4 block establishment, whether it's in the back lobby, so there's the whole stage and 2 doors that would soundproof it, or further in the box office. Again, we're flexible. We can move our piano, move our equipment, and adjust. I think we learned that so much with our main stage productions. We create sets and we tailor fit them and designate in our space. And so it's been fun to try to do that same thing on a larger scale for other organizations, not just a musical number per se, like the choreography and the design of people going in and out and making their entrances, but kind of directing commerce, directing of a traffic flow in that way.
Yeah. So then, are there other organizations that you guys have been working with to help promote the studios, promote the retail space? Like, is there? I'm assuming Downtown Group and the Chamber and others, but like, who are you working with on this to promote it and make it amazing?
The Chamber is great. Anytime we send them flyers, the Pullman Chamber, we so grateful for all that they do to advocate and promote RTOP. Anytime we send them flyers of flex space or things, they put it in their their newsletters that go out, I believe, weekly or bi-weekly. Marie, you can correct me. But it's always good getting those. We're grateful for this partnership right here with Pullman Marketing and working with Aziz on this webinar, and we look forward to more in the future to highlight and the other things that we're doing and that's going on downtown, and our own promotions with social media and engaging our network. Like I said, with our email list, people can subscribe, sign up, see what's on stage and what's happening next.
Cool. So at this point, I'll actually probably have people, if they want to unmute their mics and turn on their cameras. There have been some questions in the chat that have come through that I've tried to hit them as I see them. But feel free to ask questions. This is a unique experience, a unique opportunity for us to engage with one another as humans, as digitally with lesser isolation than we can. But yeah, I see Bill turned his off, but yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys.
So, Michael, early in the pandemic, there were signs, and I think you guys announced that kids could come there to do homework.
Yes.
Right? What was behind that? Was it using kind of the extra space there, or?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Bill Scovdall, and thank you for being a season pass member.
Glad to participate.
Yeah, our top held in the theater, our top study hall, when there was so much uncertainty for families of, is school online, is school in person, how am I going to manage my full-time work and the things that I'm doing to raise my family and keep them educated, keep them active. So we opened up our stage. We actually had our desks that we used in Matilda, the musical. We pulled them out from stock, and we had 10 desks out socially distanced to make pod and cluster groups at times that were available for families. And that addressed a few students, and that addressed individual families on a case-by-case basis. And I think that's the power of our collaboration and our outreach. It is one by one, and we're open to work with people. And so that was a huge benefit to families that, both parents were working, finances were tight, there was a lot of uncertainty. And so adapting our mission to promote the arts and arts education was really fulfilled through our top study hall. Now that Pullman School District has everyone's kind of got more in the routine, it seemed like the demand went down, but it kind of slipped off my radar with all the other things we're doing. So thank you, Bill, for reminding me of that.
Gladly, and thank you. It's great to see that kind of creative shift. The creative energy comes out in another way, so that's fun. Thank you.
Definitely.
Bill, you kind of took the words out of my mouth, because I was thinking, well, first of all, Michael, thank you for being here. But I was thinking the same thing. The creativity from the very beginning with RTOP really went into how can we best serve the community? How can we best save our bacon as well? And I have mentioned it to Michael several times. I see John maybe is on this call as well. You guys have just done a marvelous job of really pivoting and trying to figure out how can we, all those things, how can we still help the community? How can we help ourselves? How can we keep our name and what we're doing in front of the community? I also am a season ticket holder, and I don't know, I'm a pretty loud cheerleader for RTOP. When I'm there at the events, I'm always like Facebooking at the time, like, why aren't you people here? This is the best show ever. I'm always just so amazed at what happens on that little teeny stage, which of course creates an issue during COVID when we're having to separate physically. It, like many small business restaurants specifically, have had a hard time making those numbers work. If you're only bringing in 25%, you can't you can't necessarily open. I mean, you can't even have that many people on your stage, let alone the people in the theater watching. But man, can we hardly wait for it to open and get that quality theatermanship back on that stage. So I just want to hand it to you again, Michael, for really pivoting and being very creative in the ways that you stay in front of us.
Thank you, Marie. That means a lot, hearing that from you. Appreciate it. And appreciate the work that you do. Thank you so much. If people are interested, another thing that we're doing is weekly 60-minute acting classes. We're kind of forming it for teens, young adults, but again, open for, it's from 5 to 6 on Thursdays, $75 a month for ongoing tuition to hone your craft as an artist, develop public speaking skills, performance, theater exercises that expand our imagination. And so if people are interested, they can do that. And if they couple it with another program, whether it's if they sign like say an individual in our spring workshop that's coming up, and they got the theater bug, and they couple it that, there's a discount too. So making the arts accessible on every level, from 8 to 98, there's a place on stage and a role to play.
Yeah, I love it. See, I see Aziz's camera is on. Aziz, did you have any additional questions or thoughts?
Well, I'm just really amazed at how organizations like RTOP can pivot and think of some creative ways to reframe, pivot, but keep up the great work. I would say that you mentioned a lot of programs, and if there's a concise way that we can capture that on either your website or your social media or someplace where you say, here's different programs that we have available for you, that would be great. That's just the advisor in me always comes out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and this is a perfect time for that hard sales pitch of where we can find all the information to buy all the things and how to get all the things.
You bet. So arttop.org is our website, and we have tabs there that direct people to call me at the box office, phone number 509-334-0750. I try to be an approachable guy to answer any questions, but on our website, it outlines when workshops are. It outlines that there's an Easter contest going on. There's a tab there. It outlines our items for sale, a bit of the items. We're still developing it, and we're pushing to get more. So I'm grateful for this opportunity and platform to talk about RTOP Mercantile specifically. And so subscribing to that of our monthly newsletter to keep pulse with what's going on in the theater arts industry here on Palouse. To distill it down, RTOP's mission is to promote the arts and arts education through quality theater on the Palouse. And I mentioned a lot of programs, but that collaboration, the creativity, it's because we produce theater. Theater is the most collaborative art form there is. Everything we do on stage, there's so many artists and designers that come together to make one work happen. Whether it's education, entrepreneurial development, or pivoting during this difficult time, offering relief. Theater is a form of escapism. Entertainment can take us out of the troubles and worries of the day. And so it's nice to create an oasis through these arts programs and things to combat social health. And I'm just rambling. I'm not rambling, but I feel like I'm saying I'm not distilling it down. And so I just really encourage that people get involved, that they reach out, call the number, visit our website. We'd love to hear from you.
And so then with the RTOP Studios and the retail space, is just calling you guys through the main phone line on the website also the best way to get information on that?
Yes, and we have more information on our website, and yeah, but the best is just to give us a call. And
All right. And then I know Julia Ames also did a message saying that kudos to you guys. They're in Moscow, but they love going to the Art Top in the past. And so keep up the good work. That was one piece of feedback for you. Yeah. Anybody else before we close out for the day? This has been just amazing. I've learned a ton. I had no idea.
I want to take this moment again to thank everyone for coming. The turnout is just amazing, and it's so nice to see you all virtually. And we can't wait to open our theater doors and have those main stage productions again, while maintaining the lessons that we've learned during this time, and maintaining and growing upon the skills that we're developing. So thank you for coming to learn more about Regional Theater the Palouse.
Yeah, you basically closed it out for the most part. Thank you, everyone. And once again, I do want to always thank SWEDA and the Chamber and the SBDC and the city for helping to promote these events through their email lists and everything, social media as well. We're just so blessed that we get to work with such a good community, and everyone is always so gracious. So we'll be having this recording out in probably about a week or so. We're doing some new processes to try and up the quality, so it takes just a smidge longer than usual. But we'll get this out so they can be passed around as well. So have a wonderful day and enjoy what's left of the sun.